I discovered my husband's secret bank account 3 weeks before our 19th wedding anniversary. And at first, I honestly thought it had to be some kind of mistake, because after nearly 2 decades together, there shouldn't have been many surprises left. At least, that's what I believed. My name is Rachel Turner. I'm 42 years old. I live with my husband, David, in a suburb outside Indianapolis. For most of our marriage, we handled money together. Not perfectly, but honestly. We shared checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, mortgage payments, retirement plans, everything. Or so I thought. David was never the kind of man who spent money recklessly. If anything, he was more cautious than I was. The type of person who researched every purchase, compared prices, read contracts, and always had a plan. That's one of the reasons I trusted him. Not just with money, with everything. Which is why what happened next felt impossible. It started on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I had taken a half day off from work because of a dentist appointment. Afterward, I stopped by the mailbox on my way into the house. Mostly junk mail, advertisements, bills, a few catalogs. Then I noticed an envelope from a bank I'd never heard of. At first, I barely paid attention, until I saw the name on it. David Turner. My husband's name. The envelope looked official, not marketing material, not an advertisement, a statement. I carried it inside and placed it on the kitchen counter. For a moment, I forgot about it. But later that evening, while making dinner, I looked at it again. Something felt strange, because David had never mentioned having an account at that bank. Not once. And trust me, money wasn't something we kept secret, or at least I didn't think it was. When David got home, I casually asked him about it. I expected a simple answer. Maybe an old account, maybe paperwork sent by mistake, maybe something work-related. Instead, his reaction stopped me cold. The moment he saw the envelope, his expression changed. Only for a second, but I noticed. 19 years of marriage teaches you how to read someone, and in that moment, I knew something was wrong. He picked up the envelope, looked at it, then quickly said, "Oh, that's nothing." Nothing. Such a small answer, yet somehow it created 1,000 questions. I asked him what the account was. He hesitated, just long enough for my stomach to tighten. Then he said it was an old account he rarely used, an account he'd forgotten about. Forgotten? The explanation sounded reasonable, but something about it didn't feel true. Because David never forgot financial accounts, ever. That night, while he slept beside me, I couldn't stop thinking about that envelope. The account wasn't the problem. The secrecy was. Because trust doesn't disappear all at once. It starts with small doubts, tiny questions, little moments that don't make sense. And once those questions appear, they have a way of growing. Over the next few days, I started noticing things I hadn't paid attention to before. Cash withdrawals, unusual transfers, conversations that ended when I walked into the room. Nothing definitive, nothing dramatic, but enough to make me uncomfortable. Enough to make me wonder, was there really an old account? Or was there something David didn't want me to know? And the more I thought about it, the more one question kept returning. If the account was harmless, why had he looked so nervous? 3 days later, I found another document connected to that account. And that's when I realized the secret bank account was much bigger than David had admitted. For the next 3 days, I tried convincing myself I was overreacting. Maybe David was telling the truth. Maybe it really was an old account. Maybe I was creating a problem that didn't exist. But every time I thought about his reaction, that explanation felt less believable. Because it wasn't what he said that bothered me. It was how he said it. The hesitation, the nervous look, the sudden change in his expression. After 19 years together, the those details mattered, and deep down, I knew something wasn't right. On Friday afternoon, I was working from home. David was still at the office. Around lunchtime, I started organizing paperwork in the home office closet. Old tax returns, insurance documents, mortgage paperwork, the usual things couples accumulate over the years. That's when I found the folder. It was tucked behind several storage boxes, plain, unmarked. Nothing about it seemed unusual until I opened it. Inside were bank statements, dozens of them, from the same bank listed on the envelope. My heart immediately started racing because now I knew something. The account wasn't forgotten. You don't keep years of statements for an account you forgot exists. I sat down at the desk and started reading. The first thing I noticed was the balance, $68,413. I actually blinked twice to make sure I was reading correctly. $68,000 in an account I knew absolutely nothing about. An account my husband had never mentioned, an account that apparently existed for years. At first, I felt confused, then hurt, then scared, because secrets have a way of making your mind go to the worst possible place. My thoughts started spiraling. Was he planning to leave? Was he preparing for divorce? Was there another woman? Was this emergency money hidden from me? What else didn't I know? I hated myself for thinking those things, but once trust gets shaken, it's hard to stop. The statements revealed something else. Regular deposits, every month, for years. Consistent, intentional, carefully planned. This wasn't random. This wasn't forgotten. This was a secret system, and David had built it without me. I spent nearly an hour looking through those documents, trying to find answers. Instead, I found more questions, because there were no suspicious purchases, no strange names, no luxury spending, no obvious signs of an affair. Nothing. Just money, growing steadily month after month, which somehow made everything even stranger. That evening, I couldn't pretend anymore. As soon as David walked through the front door, I knew we needed to talk. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. After dinner, I placed the folder on the kitchen table, the same place where I'd shown him the envelope days earlier. The moment he saw the folder, his face turned pale, and that told me everything. He knew exactly what I had found. Neither of us spoke for several seconds. Finally, I asked the question I'd been carrying all week. What is this? My voice was calm, but inside, I felt anything but calm. David looked at the folder, then at me, then back at the folder. For a moment, he seemed unable to speak, and honestly, that terrified me, because people don't struggle to answer simple questions. They struggle when the truth is complicated. Eventually, he sat down, took a deep breath, and quietly said something I never expected to hear. I never wanted you to find out this way. Those words hit me harder than the bank balance, because suddenly the secret became real, not a misunderstanding, not a mistake, a deliberate secret, one he had protected for years. I felt my chest tighten, because in that moment, I realized wasn't just questioning a bank account, I was questioning 19 years of trust, and I had no idea what answer was coming next. David looked down at the statements and finally said, "The money isn't what I've been hiding, Rachel. It's why I started the account in the first place." And when he told me the reason, everything I thought I knew about our marriage changed. For several seconds, I just stared at him. The kitchen suddenly felt smaller, quieter, heavier, because after everything I'd discovered, I honestly thought I was prepared for the truth. I wasn't. David sat across from me, the folder still open between us, The statements, the balances, the years of secrecy, everything laid out on the table. And yet, he was telling me the money wasn't the real secret. The reason was. I finally asked him to explain, and for the first time all week, he did. 20 years earlier, before he met me, his father lost everything. The family home, their savings, their retirement plans, everything. A failed business and a mountain of debt had wiped out decades of hard work. David was only in his 20s, but watching his parents struggle left a permanent mark on him, a mark he never fully talked about, not with friends, not with coworkers, and apparently not even with me. He told me he spent years terrified that the same thing would happen to us, terrified that one emergency, one layoff, one recession could destroy everything we had built. At first, he tried handling those fears normally, saving more, budgeting carefully, planning ahead. But after the financial crisis years ago, something changed. The fear never left. It only grew. So he opened the account. At first, he deposited a few $100s, then a little more, then every month, year after year. The account became what he called his worst-case scenario fund. Money he hoped we'd never need. Money he wanted available if life ever fell apart. I listened quietly, trying to process everything. Because what he was describing wasn't greed, it wasn't an affair, it wasn't hidden spending, it was fear. The same fear he'd carried for decades. But that realization didn't erase the hurt, because regardless of his intentions, he still kept it from me. For years. I finally asked the question that mattered most. Why didn't you tell me? His answer came immediately. Because I was ashamed. That wasn't the answer I expected. He looked down at the table, then continued. The longer I kept it secret, the harder it became to tell you. And honestly, I understood that. Not because I agreed with it, but because I've seen how shame works. It starts small, then grows, and eventually becomes a wall that gets taller every year. David admitted there were dozens of times he almost told me, when the balance reached $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. But every year he waited, telling the truth became more difficult, until eventually the secret felt impossible to explain. For a long time, neither of us spoke. I kept looking at the statements, not because of the money, but because of what they represented. 19 years of marriage, 19 years of trust, and one hidden fear that had quietly lived beside us the entire time. That night, we talked longer than we had in years. Not about the account, about everything. The fears we never discussed, the worries we tried handling alone, the assumptions we'd made about each other. The conversation wasn't easy. There were tears, frustration, disappointment, but there was also honesty. More honesty than we'd had in a very long time. Over the next several months, we made changes. Not financial changes, relationship changes. Every account became completely transparent. Every financial goal became shared. Every fear became something we discussed instead of hiding. And little by little, trust started returning. Not because the secret disappeared, but because the secrecy did. Looking back now, I don't think the bank account was ever the real problem. The problem was believing we had to carry our fears alone. Because money problems are difficult. Financial uncertainty is stressful. But secrecy almost always makes those burdens heavier. And if there's one thing this experience taught me, it's this. Trust isn't built when everything is going well. Trust is built when people are brave enough to tell the truth, especially when they're afraid. I thought I had discovered my husband's secret bank account, but what I really discovered was a fear he'd been carrying alone for nearly 20 years. If you discovered your spouse had a secret bank account, would you immediately assume the worst? Or would you hear their explanation first? What would you do in Rachel's situation? Leave a comment, like if the story felt realistic, and subscribe to Dollar Confessions for more real money stories and life lessons.